So everyone, welcome to this episode of Asoka the Geek. Today I have Kristi, Wonder Woman fan number 1, joining us. Hello, Kristi.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining me. First of all, you mentioned this a second ago, that George Perez signed print in your background. Holy crap, that is
I can
beautiful.
lean it up here.
Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh. Tell me a little bit about that. Where did you get that from? How did you get him to sign it? Was it just a print you bought? Where did you get it from?
So it's actually a funny story because I had purchased this poster years before I even knew it was going to get signed.
Yeah.
So my husband and I got married last year, September 2019. Thank you. And as a wedding present, because George Perez, was supposed to come to Terrificon, which is a Comic-Con in our state of Connecticut.
Yeah.
He, due to health concerns, couldn't make it, which I completely understand. Things happen. He needs to worry about himself. So, of course, I was disappointed. You know, life went on. And then we came across someone at Terrificon who is kind of like a broker who gets things to different cons to get them signed and stuff. And he was such a nice guy. I didn't know, while I was at a different booth, my husband and this broker were wheeling and dealing. And my husband, I didn't know, took this out of my collection to get it signed at Dragon Con in Atlanta. Because George Perez went to Dragon Con.
Yeah.
And he got that signed. And I have the George Perez number 1. You know, the one from the 80s that's kind of based on, or Wonder Woman 84 is based on. And got that signed. And got this signed, and I have certificates of authenticity for both.
Dude.
And a custom frame was made for this just because of the odd size that it is.
First of all, your husband, what a guy. Like, what a guy. Like,
he's pretty awesome.
That is amazing. So,
He gets it, though. He collects retro video games and consoles, but we have ours in the living room. So, like, we actually will play them, and, like, people will come over and we'll have video game parties, and, like, he's got the original Genesis and every Nintendo you can imagine. And like he even got my nephew. So our nephew's 11. Yeah. They play video games on headsets together all the time.
So you have a very pro-geek husband.
Yes. And now we're turning that on to our niece and nephew.
Well, the nice thing is it's a different geekiness. So you guys have your separate hobbies. Yep. But you still appreciate each other's, you know, geekiness about what you love, so that's great.
Oh, definitely. What I am about Wonder Woman, he is about Zelda. Like, Zelda was his first video game. Yeah. He played, like, every version, and that's his thing.
If you don't mind me asking, where did you meet your husband? How did you guys
no, that's fine. We actually met through a mutual friend, and we did not even realize that the same friend who had set us up, we were at the same wedding, her wedding, at different times. So we almost met like a few times in our lives, but it just didn't work out. And then ever since we had so many, you know, things in common, nerd wise.
Yeah.
So we just clicked, and now we have 3 dogs and a cat.
Look at that.
Those are our kids.
Oh my gosh. Well, the reason I wanted to talk to you, Kristi, is I was going to do this episode about Wonder Woman. Says Wonder Woman's coming out. I'm like, that's good content. I haven't done a podcast in 2 months. Let me do something about Wonder Woman. Yeah. I'm like, I'm a Wonder Woman fan. I love Wonder Woman, but I'm, you know, not like hardcore like I am about Superman and Batman.
Yeah.
Of course, immediately I thought about you because you are the biggest Wonder Woman fan I know, and you're a legit Wonder Woman fan. You're not just a gal who likes Wonder Woman. You saw the first movie. You know, it's kind of like a Trekkie who only saw the new movies, and they call it Trekkie. Now, you're legit. I mean, first of all, you know who George Perez is. And
yes,
you have signed artwork from him. So that's fantastic. So tell me, Kristi, how did you, like, learn about Wonder Woman? Take me way back, and your history with Wonder Woman.
So, funny enough, I actually have on this shelf here, if you can see that Barbie.
I do,
It's one of those, like, Playline Barbies. It's not, a huge deal. And if you remember KB Toys when that was a thing,
of course,
it actually has the clearance sticker on it from KB Toys because that's where I first got. That was my very first Wonder Woman collectible.
Oh my god!
Was that doll? So it just happened to be around that time because that doll came out in 2003. That after I got the doll, I was like, I think I've seen her somewhere.
Yeah,
that's Wonder Woman. I know Wonder Woman. So at the time, Cartoon Network would play reruns of Super Friends.
Yeah.
But not only that, my biggest thing that I remember is the Justice League animated series and Justice League Unlimited was in that early 2000s time. So I'm 28. So at the time that was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. But I didn't actually tell my dad this until recently. When it was on late on Cartoon Network. Like, I would have already been in bed for school. I used to sneak out of bed and watch that late on Cartoon Network. I would listen for my dad snoring so I knew I wouldn't get caught.
Yeah.
And I would go and like turn the volume down so I could hear it, but it wasn't loud enough to wake anybody up. And as soon as that was over, I would go right back to bed because I didn't want to miss Susan Eisenberg's version of Wonder Woman. And just the stories were so great and detailed, and especially Justice League Unlimited when they started adding in all the other characters. It was awesome. It was like perfect to me.
And she did a great job voicing that character. Like, she was strong yet kind, you know. And you're right, Unlimited was better than the Justice League, the first version, you know. So you have good taste in cartoons.
Oh, thank you. But especially as a younger person, like, I definitely get, I don't want to say attention span because that's not really fair, but Justice League itself was definitely a little slower paced and had like multi-arc episodes, where Justice League Unlimited, you know, everything's wrapped in a nice little bow for the most part in, you know, the 20 to 30 minutes. But they also, you know, had all these really cool characters that some of us might not have known otherwise, like introducing people to like Booster Gold and Fire and like all of those really cool characters.
Oh, you're so right. I remember that show came out, like, they thought they had to make it an hour because of all the characters in it, and then they revamped it for Unlimited. And you're right, they brought in so many characters like Booster Gold, like you mentioned.
They
like,
did.
Really deep cuts into the DC universe. So were you into like superheroes, DC, before Wonder Woman, before that cartoon? I mean, you were pretty young, but like, was that your first exposure to all of that?
So strangely enough, my family wasn't really big into, you know, superheroes or anything like that. So I always drew myself to strong female characters. So, you know, Disney princesses, for example, everybody's always saying, oh, you know, they love Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty and the big dresses. No, I liked Ariel. I loved her because of the TV series. She would go out and do her own thing, and she would help her friends and save people. And I think that's just kind of what resonated with Wonder Woman. And, you know, when I started watching Super Friends and things like that, I mean, I was probably 10, 11, 12, and my dad showed me the Linda Carter series.
Oh, gosh.
So they actually did bring out some of the older, like, deep cuts for me, and I was really appreciative of that because I loved it.
Wait, so you like the Linda Carter show? You
oh, yeah. It is definitely, I will say, it's definitely of its time.
Yeah.
Yes, but for what, especially appreciating it for what it was, it's amazing. It's no wonder people loved it.
And she was great. I mean, she's an amazing Wonder Woman. You know, she did a great job in that show. It's definitely dated now, but I mean, it was really well done for its time.
But that's like anything, you know, you watch it how many years later, it's going to be dated.
So when you were, like, you know, being a Wonder Woman fan, and especially when you were growing up in the early 2000s, there aren't too many female-empowered characters, I take it, right? I assume.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just curious, like, as a young girl, you know, as a guy, we have, you know, tons of male, you know, heroes to look to. But were you very conscious of that as a young girl? Like, that there weren't that many, like, female characters that you could, you know, appreciate like Wonder Woman? Did that ever?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I also think that's why I really attached myself to Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah.
More than, you know, the other series, just because, you know, it's all well and good that in Super Friends, she's kind of still almost always the damsel in distress. But when you introduced JLU, it was like, wow, look at Star Sapphire. She's so strong. And, you know, Wonder Woman doesn't need Batman. And just, it showed how strong they could be on their own. And to me, that was just awesome. That was so cool.
All right. We're talking. Okay. So you loved JLU because of all the different female characters, and I'm sure you loved the other characters as well.
Yeah.
So how old were you around then, Justice League Unlimited? You're 28, so you were what, like 5, 6, or where's my I'm terrible at math.
I was like 5 or 6 in the late 90s.
We'll call it that. There you go.
Well, sure.
We don't need to be specific about age here, you know? So, like, what kind of impact has Wonder Woman had on you kind of growing up? Like, she's been a part of your life for a while. Like, have you been, once you watched the cartoon, did you follow the other incarnations of her? Which there aren't that many, really. But to look at, I remember there was like the David E. Kelly show that was supposed to come out. Like, what was your other exposure to Wonder Woman after Justice League Unlimited?
Honestly, I just tried to watch anything that was Justice League that I could find. Like, I know in the early 2000s, there weren't many besides the TV series, but as the 2000s went on, DC got more into the, animated movies and things like that, where even though it was all the Justice League, at least she was in it. Did she have a starring role? No. But then there were the awesome shows like Young Justice and, Flashpoint Paradox, which is so far from continuity of everything else. Yeah. Like, you can't show kids that, like, at all. No. But it's very funny because the range that she has now, just because of how big she's gotten, I would have loved to have had that when I was a kid. Like, see her in different versions, or like Darwin Cook's art versus like Bruce Timm's art, and just seeing what else she can be. It was just amazing.
Speaking of that, like, when did you get into the comics? Like, how did you learn about the comics? Like, did you just go out on your own and find them? Like, how did you get into the comic books?
So it's funny because my mom bought that KB Toys Barbie and just happened to buy a really like old ratty Wonder Woman comic. I mean, the front pages are falling off. They're all yellow, but I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I read it cover to cover so many times. So as, I got older and was able to go places on my own, I'd go to flea markets and tag sales and stuff like that. And I started finding more of them. But going back to my wonderful husband, I was actually encouraged at that point in my life. So this was about 4 years ago, believe it or not, that I built this whole room.
Okay.
And my whole collection's only about 4 years old. It went from 0 to 100 real quick. And for our third Christmas together, Vance decided he was going to finally finish my George Perez run.
Yeah.
Because he is hands down my favorite artist, my favorite storylines. And he's basically like the alpha. Sorry. He's basically like the second father of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And adding so much to her story. So I keep expanding on my comics, but I have read so many. I got 2 of the omnibuy of the very original Wonder Woman. And kind of like the TV series, the original comics don't always translate well.
They're interesting,
Yeah. But I also remember, too, that, the more research I did into this, William Moulton Marston, created the polygraph test, the lie detector test. And he was a psychologist and he was a professor. And now that I'm old enough to kind of understand what that means, going back and reading that, I can see a lot more from the viewpoint of someone who understands where he's coming from versus, oh, this is just a ridiculous comic book. It's so much more than that.
Oh, interesting. I never thought about like going back and reading those original stories from that vantage point. But you're right. He's an interesting guy, the creator. So that's so fascinating. So George Perez is your guy. That's your favorite run. Did you ever read the Brian Azzarello run with Cliff Chiang?
I have a couple of the books, but I don't have the full run.
Yeah. I highly recommend that. That's my favorite Wonder Woman.
New 52,
story. Yeah, so that's really good. I think you'd love it. So definitely check that out. So let me ask you this. When Wonder Woman showed up in Batman versus Superman, first of all, when you started hearing about it, that Wonder Woman was going to be in it, when Gal Gadot got cast, what was your initial reaction? What were your thoughts about it?
Honestly, nothing against her or her body type or shaming anyone, of course.
Yeah.
But she seemed very lean to be the Wonder Woman that we think of. We think of, strong, can lift an entire building, and she just seemed very lean. But again, she is a god and, has all these powers. So once I actually, heard that music and saw her in the movie, my jaw dropped and I said, that is what I want to be when I grow up. Like, it was just the coolest thing to see her as a person. And again, we all love the Linda Carter series, but not in a way that's not as cheesy as a 70s TV sitcom.
Right.
Seeing her in that strong, actual person type role, the live action role, was just mind-blowing. And then when the movie came out, that was, I don't even know how many times I've watched that movie now. Yeah. And made my husband watch it too.
Oh no, yeah, I agree. Like, yeah, when they first cast her, she's a very lovely lady, of course, but she didn't look very, like, you know, muscular.
Yeah.
But then when you saw her, you know, and when she shows up, she steals the movie, you know, pretty much. She's so amazing in it.
And then it's funny too that, you know, the more you look into Gal, you know, she was in the Israeli army and she taught fitness and all this other stuff. So it's like, okay, she's really awesome.
Right. So then what do you think about when they announced the Wonder Woman movie with Patty Jenkins directing it? Like, what were your feelings about that?
My biggest thing from the get-go is I always give, you know, someone the benefit of the doubt and I give them a chance. I just didn't want them to mess it up. That was my biggest thing. I wanted them to do her well, and I wanted it to be an epic story. And it was so much better than we thought. And the movie came out years ago, so I'm assuming I'm not spoiling anything.
No, I think you're good. You're good.
But the twist at the end was like I did not see that coming. Like, that to me made the perfect movie, because it's like, oh, okay, she's going to kill the bad guy. It was him the whole time. It was this whole big thing.
I know. I mean, they had a lot riding on that, right? I mean, it's the first Wonder Woman movie. You know, female superhero characters traditionally haven't done that well. And, they knocked it out of the park. And I'm sure you're excited for Wonder Woman 84, right?
Yes, very much.
I'm just afraid it's going to, like, crash. Like, with the amount of people trying to watch it on
I know. That happened recently with some other I think it was like Mandalorian on Disney Plus, where everybody was trying to stream it and they crashed Disney Plus. So I hope HBO Max is ready for it.
Oh, I'm like, oh gosh, I'm sure it'll be fine though.
Yeah, so, it should be.
I know we're jumping all over the place here a little bit, but then you mentioned the animated movies. What was your favorite animated Wonder Woman movies, or which ones do you like the most?
Goodness. I mean, there's a lot of them. Yeah. I mean, her solo ones I love just for the fact that they give her a place to shine, like Bloodlines and, you know, the one from 2009 where Kerry Russell was her voice. And I thought it was very cute that, you know, they still reference the ice cream.
Yes.
In the movie, you know, her and always getting excited about ice cream. I thought was very cute. But
dude, you know your shit, Kristi. Holy cow! Like, you're like deep cuts. Like, like, you remember their names of the voice actors?
Yep.
Like, that's impressive.
So I've also we're starting our YouTube channel of Wonder Woman based content, and our videos are starting to post this Christmas week.
Oh, congratulations! That's awesome.
It was something I was on the fence for a little bit, but you know, my husband knows how to edit videos. I'm learning, so I'm like, you know what? Why not share this stuff? You know, trying to build the museum, and we'll try to get more stuff out there. So this week, I actually won on Twitter because I knew trivia. Yeah. I won a jacket from AMC Theaters, which blew my mind because they're only making like 10 of them.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
And what the question was what year did Kristen Wiig's version of Cheetah first appear in the comics? Well, I listed every Cheetah and the year that they came out. Because there were 4 technically. And one Cheetah was actually the aunt of another Cheetah. There's like a whole, it's a really long story, but yeah. So there were actually 4 versions, and the newest one from the 2000s was actually male.
Wow, that's impressive. Like, this is like some nerd level knowledge. You have a great memory. That's I mean, I know a lot about my stuff, but like, I don't think I can, I don't know if I can be, if I'm that hardcore. So tell me, Kristi, about the Wonder Woman Museum. What is all that about?
Yes, so we are very excited that in the next few years, we are going to be moving, still in Connecticut, but to a larger space where we're going to, on our property, build a Wonder Woman museum. So basically the size of like a 2 or 3 car garage converted, kind of like the Marston Family Museum that was in their basement for a very long time in Bethel, Connecticut. You know, make sure the dehumidifier's on. We don't want to wreck any of the vintage stuff. But with our museum, The only thing we are asking people before they come in is to make a direct donation to one of two charities for the state. It would be either for Connecticut Children's Medical Center or the Connecticut Coalition Against Domestic Violence. I don't want money to change hands with me at all. I want it all to go directly there. We're not looking to make money off of this at all, which is also why I wanted to start the YouTube channel. Anything that we may possibly get from, affiliate marketing or advertising or anything, all of that goes toward building the structure and stocking the museum.
Wow. So you're gonna build a museum, and then you're gonna generate some funds from YouTube, hopefully, to to populate the museum. But then you're gonna donate all to charity.
Correct.
Awesome.
My husband and I, luckily, my husband and a lot of his friends are very handy and can do electrical and drywall and all that. So it's not like we have to have anybody come in, as long as we get permits and all that. But I've been very lucky, and so has my husband, where, especially with charities like this, we have had, both of those issues, unfortunately, domestic violence as well as sick children. We've had that both touch our lives. Our family members have experienced that. Yeah. So if we can be so blessed that we are able to help others and have the opportunity to know where our next meal is coming from, or know where we have a roof over our head. Some other people may not be that lucky. And if we could help in that way at all, we'd be happy to.
Oh, that's awesome. You're such a good person, and your husband too. You know what I mean? It's like, I think about ways myself to help and with charities and stuff. And it's challenging to find a way to connect this to that, so that's amazing. So, first of all, I'm very impressed that your husband's so handy. I had to hire people to do all of this.
So, I'm very impressed too. Yeah. This whole room that has the, recessed lighting in the walls and everything, he made this room.
Oh my God.
And there's a walk-in closet in it and everything. Yeah, he built it all.
Is he a construction guy? Is that what he does?
Nope.
No?
Nope. Does security.
And he does this on the side? He just builds amazing structures? Mm-hmm. Are you guys going to come to California anytime soon?
He'll come.
He'll
come work on your house.
I know, man. That's so impressive. I wish I was more handy. It would have saved me a lot of money. But anyways, enough about
Not either.
That's so cool. So what are you going to do with the YouTube channel? What are your, just give me a sneak at some of the content you have planned, or what you're going to do.
Sure. So our biggest plan is just to get out kind of the story and the message behind Wonder Woman. Yeah. Like I said, with the charities that we selected, the biggest thing that they could use is in those two fields are support and someone who, believes in them and strength. And I think Wonder Woman embodies all of that. Yeah. So to be able to share that message, I still want to be able to do, reviews of episodes of TV shows she was in, or movies, or, new items that I get for the museum. Yeah. A big thing that we also want to do for the museum is make kind of a donor wall where we can put little plaques of names, and everyone who was kind enough to donate an item, I want them to feel like they are a part of it and put their name on the wall.
Can I be your donor when you do that?
Absolutely.
I'd love to do that. It's so awesome.
Absolutely.
That's such a great idea.
Thank
you guys could do a video, a Wonder Woman of the Week, a real life Wonder Woman who does something.
I was thinking of that too, especially because, coming from a background in healthcare, and especially with everything they're going through right now, I did kind of consider doing a either podcast or video or something where I interview a strong woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, weekly. So I thought that would be really cool, especially because, now I work full time and do this, and I have a commute. I love listening to podcasts. It's wonderful.
So what do you do, Kristi? Tell me about your profession. You mentioned healthcare. What do you do for a living?
So unfortunately, I hurt my back, so I'm now in insurance. But previous to that, for about 6 years, I worked in an emergency room as a tech, and I also worked as an EMT.
Wow. So you've seen some action out there, huh?
I've seen some interesting things.
How long were you an EMT for?
6 years.
Oh my gosh. What, you don't have to go too deep into this, but what are some of the things any funny stories from being an EMT? Anything that would just
yeah. There are plenty of those. Goodness. funny story that I can actually share. Just trying to think of what might be appropriate.
I know, that's what probably. I was thinking about some things that I might like.
Okay, this one's not that bad. There was a woman who insisted on trying to look down my shirt when I was working in the emergency room.
Okay.
And I had my badge at the time hanging on kind of the V-neck portion of my scrubs. So I thought she was looking at my badge. And she whispers in my ear. She said, "You wearing a bra?" I said, "Yes, why?" She goes, "Wanted to make sure. I'm wearing one too. We could do business." I said, "Okay. I don't know what that business is.
Right.
Let's get you changed."
Yeah.
Like that was just the things I've been told were quite interesting.
Wow.
On a daily basis.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
I can't believe you did that for 6 years. Like,
6
that
years.
must have been tiring. I mean, you must have worked all hours, like, long shifts.
Oh so usually on the ambulance, it was a minimum of 12 hours. Yeah. And when I was in the emergency room, it was usually about 9 hours. In case there were holdovers, it would have been more than that. But and we actually worked in the Capitol, so in Hartford, in downtown.
When you're in, like, a 12-hour shift on a ambulance, like, what do you do exactly? Like, are you guys parked somewhere and you just wait for a call? Are you like stationed at the hospital? Like, what's your day like on an EMT shift?
So I actually worked for a service that did both 911 calls and transfers. So if we weren't going to a 911 call, they would more than likely send us to, pick up someone from dialysis, pick up someone who, can't walk, to bring them to a doctor's appointment. We've even brought people to a dentist appointment who couldn't walk. Yeah. And I never really thought about that until I was, actually doing it. But for the most part, we do a 911. If we have something scheduled where, we have to go pick someone up in half an hour, we would, sit somewhere posted, as they say. So in case they need us, we're in a certain location. If there's a 911 that's closest to us, we get called off of that kind of posting, and we go to that 911 call.
Then what do you do, like, with the bathroom situation? Did you have, like, spots you knew where there were clean bathrooms? Like, this is the kind of stuff I think about, Kristi. Like, how did you handle all that?
So for the most part, you try to time it right. Yeah. There have definitely been days where it was, like, hours before I could go to the bathroom. But for the most part, we kind of timed it where if you're dropping off a patient at the emergency room, before you sign back on, use the bathroom.
Oh, smart.
It is not worth getting a UTI. Use the bathroom.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And usually the hospital bathrooms are clean, so.
Yes, because they have the staff separate from the patient bathrooms.
Good. Okay, good. This is not too bad, though. So I'm sure there's some situations, but wow.
And especially because, like, we usually see the same nurses and doctors all the time. It was kind of a, like, hey, they'll let us know, don't use that one, or, like, something went down in that one.
Look at that, man. Yeah, I think working from home now, I'm so spoiled. Like, I never have to deal with, like, the office bathroom situation.
Yep.
Hopefully again, because it's so great. It's not even on my mind anymore.
I just have to share it with my husband, so that's a lost cause.
Yeah, dude. There's that. So
he's standing right there, so that's why I made that joke.
Okay.
He made a face.
Yeah. So now you do insurance, though. Are you a insurance salesman? Is it for, like, State Farm? Like, what kind of insurance do you have?
It's actually for health insurance for our state. So, I'm on the phone with that, helping members and things like that. And might have some interesting full-time options coming up. So, but I'm, lucky to have a job right now. Definitely not complaining. It's
absolutely same here.
It's crazy out there.
And I'm sure, like, are you like me now that you're in your Wonder Woman cave? Like, working from home, do you just constantly look at stuff to buy, look at things you want to move around? Like, are you constantly changing things in there?
It's currently a mess in here because I was opening new stuff. So, there's cardboard boxes and there's totes, and then there's, stuff moved from one place to another. I also got a lot of the Reebok sneakers that just came out, the Wonder Woman ones.
Let me see that.
Yes.
You have a head?
So, I have 3 pairs.
Yeah.
And luckily enough, there's a website. So if anybody's a first responder and doesn't already know about this, yes, I have those too. If anybody doesn't know about a website called ID.me, you put in your license number and they verify your coverage, like your if your license is active, and you get discounts from brands for being either, you know, a nurse, a doctor, a first responder, anything like that. And I got 50% off of my Reebok purchase twice.
That's awesome. Oh my
right?
God.
So that's why I bought multiple pairs, because I didn't feel as bad not spending $150 on one pair of shoes.
And they're for the museum too.
Exactly. So these were the gold.
Holy cow. Those are
the
beautiful.
Gold ones. And they have, it's very, very shiny.
Oh,
and they have the W on back.
Look at that. Those are sweet.
Thank you. So I actually got 4 pairs. I thought I got 3. That was my mistake. One of the stranger ones are the see-through shoes. And I don't like these because even if you wore socks, it's weird. And I didn't expect that. But
it's
what I thought
cool, but it's like, I don't know if you really want to,
And something I thought was really cool, if you look at the insole, it is gal.
That is neat.
Isn't that cool?
Invisible plane. Look at that. Oh, isn't that cool? Sweet. And I see your popcorn box, if I'm not mistaken. Your tin.
Yes.
You right?
So this is from AMC Theaters.
Yeah.
And awesome story with that. So this was $2.99. They're selling it like on its own, or you can buy it with popcorn. And my husband actually went in to grab me the popcorn bucket, and some guy just flagged him down that worked there and was like, "Hey, you guys really like Wonder Woman, right?" And my husband's like, "Yeah, I guess you could say that my wife really likes Wonder Woman."
How did he know that you guys loved Wonder Woman? Like,
because I guess my husband opened his big mouth, which thank you very much. They gave me free movie posters.
Look at that.
The ones they actually displayed.
That is so awesome. Oh.
So I have 3 of their posters. 2 have different dates on them. One says June, one says December. Very cool. And then this is actually a cup that has a bracelet on the outside from Mexico. Oh, yep, that's another poster. Your husband's
a great assistant, by the way.
He is. He's really great. So he films his own videos. He does fitness stuff. So he does like unboxings and things like that on Instagram. So he says he's the wife.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. This one actually came from Mexico. They didn't release these in the United States. I had a friend who lives in Southern California and went to a Cinemark in Mexico, and it looks like her bracelet in the back too. But you drink out of it.
That is awesome. What's your approach to buying stuff? Like, do you just buy anything Wonder Woman? Do you focus on one area? Like, are you just on eBay and Mercari? Just like, how do you think about what you want to buy with Wonder Woman?
I definitely think I haven't had much luck on Mercari. Definitely some have been from eBay, but I have friends, like a few groups of like, well, yes, I have a husband who's an enabler, he just said, which I don't disagree with, but the majority of this stuff, believe it or not, I find like discount codes, coupon codes, especially when Toys R Us closed. I got a lot of the like 2017 stuff.
Nice.
But you know, Facebook Marketplace, other collectors will go like this from the Mexican theater came from another collector, and she shipped it to me. So we have like such a great group of people. And I even have a friend in Brazil, hi Andre, who sends Brazilian Wonder Woman stuff too. So I love being able to find the international stuff. Because it's just so different. And I think it'd be awesome for the museum.
You should definitely try to get some overseas comic books, because they're all different, the covers that they do for the overseas releases, and there's some really beautiful stuff. I was in Europe a few years ago. I bought some stuff. I can't even read it. It's like in French. But like,
I've seen some Italian ones. They're pretty cool.
Oh, they're so cool. That's amazing though. You're that girl now. Like you're like the cousin. Oh, Kristi loves Wonder Woman. Oh, that looks cool. We send that to Kristi. You know, that's awesome though. It's worked out nicely for you.
That is literally what happens. I kind of feel like I have someone called them scouts that kind of are like, oh, do you have this? Do you have this? And I don't mind. It's less searching that I have to do.
Exactly. So, it's all going into a museum as well. You know?
Yep.
And that's so great that you guys live in like Connecticut, where you're going to be able to get land. You know, I'm in California, Southern California, so...
Oh, yeah, there's no land.
It's a tough situation out here. You would love it. It's great. It's amazing. But, you know, property-wise, there's no way I'll ever be able to, you know, build a Superman museum. So that's awesome.
Yeah, we're looking to get at least a few acres, so that'll be fun.
Oh my gosh. So do you what do you do on the daily with Wonder Woman? Are you just always like reading comic books, watching videos? Is it just, it seems like it's always a part of your life, I'm sure.
Yeah, so while it's still a thing, I love the DC Universe app because it not only has the comics, but it has all the shows and the movies, and I love watching through there. But there is always something. I'm either always reading something or I'm catching up with collector friends about like new stuff that's coming out. And there's just always something. And especially with all the new news for the new movie, I'm watching all the behind the scenes stuff and new interviews. What?
Every single day.
Well, yes, every single day. And I'm always posting to Instagram like something new that I got. And recently, some of the coolest things that I received when I mentioned earlier the signed George Perez.
Look at that.
#1 in like mint condition.
That is beautiful. Oh man.
And for my first anniversary, because so September of this year, it was the paper anniversary. That's your first one. He got me Wonder Woman number 66.
Holy cow.
Like actual number 66 in awesome condition.
That is a beautiful cover too. Look at that. Oh man.
Yeah, it's very, very pretty.
That is gorgeous.
And I'm even, I don't care if they're not the most important books. And, I love finding the old cheap books and reading about Wonder Girl and like Wonder Tot and Mr. Genie and all of those really cool characters that aren't mentioned very much.
These are people I didn't even know about, like Wonder Tot. Who that was. Who is that?
So Wonder Woman in her like earlier run had, I believe it was Bronze Age, but I could be wrong. So there was obviously Hippolyta, her mom, and then Wonder Woman, who was an adult, and then Wonder Girl as like teenage Wonder Woman, and then Wonder Tot literally is just like a toddler version of Wonder Woman and is written as if she speaks like a child. Like, what do, Mr. Genie? Why Wonder Tot no go here? Like, she's literally written to speak like that. And Wonder Girl had her best friend who was a merman.
Yeah.
And Genie was the best friend of Wonder Tot.
Man, you know your stuff, Kristi. Holy God.
I try. I've read a lot.
Now, is there a big Wonder Woman community of collectors? Like, I know, so many male collectors of like, DC stuff, but like, you're my only Wonder Woman friend. Is there a whole world that I just am naive to or oblivious to of like Wonder Woman collectors, like female collectors, I guess?
So I don't know about a lot of female collectors. There are quite a few, but as far as a lot compared to Superman, I don't feel like there's that many. There are actually a lot of gay men who collect Wonder Woman because, Linda Carter, when they were growing up, was their first, very fabulous iteration of someone they wanted to be or wanted to be like. And especially with like her 70s fashion and just what she meant to them, she's huge in that community. So in regards to just collectors in general, there are like so many more Wonder Woman collectors than I thought there were until I got into that community and started talking to people.
That's so fascinating. I didn't even think about that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Oh, one thing I recommend you reading. You might have read it already.
Okay.
It's the Justice League Darkseid War.
Yes.
I mentioned this because Wonder Woman is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to tell you who else is in there, but you should read this. It's very Wonder Woman centric.
All right.
And there's Amazons in there, and it's a good story. I definitely recommend this. This Justice League Darkseid War. So
I will add that to my list. Yeah, definitely with the newer stuff. There's a lot that I'm trying to catch up on, especially because I read more of just her stories, not so much like Justice League. Yeah. But now when I'm seeing these really cool story arcs with other characters, I was like, oh man, I've got a lot to catch up on.
You got a lot to do, Kristi. You have a lot to do.
A lot of homework.
Yeah, you do. Well, I think that's good. I think I'll let you go. So here, thank you so much for your time today. You were such an amazing guest. And any final plugs for out of your YouTube channel's launching? Is it up yet, or is it?
So we will be launching it on Monday.
Yeah.
So in just a few days.
Oh, beautiful.
It is called Kristi with an I, but we are also on Instagram. We are on Twitter. We're on Facebook. So we're going to post about everything on all of those social media platforms. So it's going to be a good time.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Kristi. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me. It was nice talking to you.